In a small village nestled in the heart of West Africa, a girl named Amina was born under a sky lit with 1,000 falling stars. The village elders said it was a sign from the ancestors, a blessing of great power bestowed upon the newborn. From the moment she took her first breath, it was clear that Amina was different. Her eyes shimmered with an ethereal light, and her presence exuded an otherworldly aura that both intrigued and unsettled those around her. Amina's unique abilities began to manifest as she grew. At first, it was small things: a whispered wish that made flowers bloom, a wave of her hand that called the wind to her. Her parents, loving and protective, did their best to shield her from the superstitions and fears of the villagers. They taught her to embrace her gifts and to use them for good, even as whispers and rumors began to circulate among the people. When Amina started school, her life took a darker turn. Her classmates, sensing her differences, began to tease and bully her. They called her names, mocked her abilities, and excluded her from their games. Amina tried to hide her powers, to be like everyone else, but her light could not be dimmed. She struggled with feelings of loneliness and rejection, her heart aching with each cruel word and action. Despite the bullying, Amina's powers continued to grow. She could sense the emotions of those around her, and sometimes even see glimpses of the future. Her parents encouraged her to use her abilities to help others, and soon, the villagers began to notice the good she was doing. When crops were failing, Amina's touch would revive them. When someone was sick, her presence brought comfort, and sometimes even healing. Slowly, the fear and suspicion turned into curiosity, and for some, admiration. One day at school, Amina's powers became impossible to ignore. A classmate, in a moment of anger, tried to push her, and without thinking, Amina's powers surged to protect her, creating a barrier of light that sent the bully sprawling. The teachers, unable to understand her abilities and fearing for the safety of the other students, decided to suspend her. The news spread quickly through the village, stirring a mix of outrage and support. Amina's mother, strong and resolute, refused to let her daughter be cast aside. She approached the school demanding a fair hearing and insisting that Amina's powers were a gift, not a threat. She spoke passionately about the good Amina had done for the village, how her abilities had saved crops and healed the sick. Her words resonated with many, and the school was forced to reconsider its decision. The story of Amina's suspension and her mother's plea reached the ears of the regional government. Intrigued and impressed by the accounts of Amina's abilities, officials decided to investigate. They visited the village, speaking with the elders, the villagers, and witnessing Amina's powers firsthand. Recognizing her potential, they decided to offer her a scholarship to a prestigious school, where she could receive a better education and further develop her abilities in a supportive environment. Amina's return to school was met with mixed reactions. Some students still feared her, but many were inspired by her story. She became a symbol of hope and resilience, proving that differences could be strengths and that adversity could be overcome with courage and support. The government's recognition of her abilities and the scholarship offer was celebrated not just by her village, but by neighboring communities as well. As Amina continued her education, she became an icon of hope for her entire village and country. She used her powers to help others, advocating for acceptance and understanding. Her story spread far and wide, inspiring many to embrace their own unique gifts and to stand up against bullying and prejudice. She was invited to speak at schools and community events, sharing her journey and encouraging others to find strength in their differences. Amina's impact was profound. She helped to change the perception of those with supernatural abilities, fostering a sense of pride and acceptance within her community. The government, seeing the positive influence she had, continued to support her education and encouraged other children with unique abilities to come forward. Amina's journey from a bullied child to a celebrated hero became a legend, a tale of courage, acceptance, and the power of embracing one's true self.